What up, TCK Potters? I'm your host, Sky Guasco, joined always by my man, Lukas Kaser, and you are tuned into the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Candlestick Kids, leave a rate and review anywhere you're listening to your podcast, and follow us on IG at fantasyfootball_TCK Pod and on Twitter at TCK_pod. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Welcome back, TCK Potters, episode 212 of the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. Today we are doing a tight end premium mock draft. We have a sleeper crew ready to go. Appreciate everybody for joining in on this. We have this is a group of actual humans. The last couple of mock drafts, we have been using the Draft Wizard from Fantasy Pros, which we love, as you very much know. We encourage you to use that free application. However, we brought in a bunch of our friends to jump into this realistic mock, actual people. We're jumping into a tight end premium mock draft. Now, Lukas, I'm going to get your thoughts on tight end premium really quickly. I'm going to run through a couple of interesting stats I found about the tight end premium model versus a regular mock draft, and then we will get right into the mock. So first of all, how do you feel about mock drafts in general with the tight end premium model? What is significantly different right off the bat? And frankly, just on a bare bones level, what does tight end premium actually mean?
Yep. So basically what it means is, so we're doing full point PPR, so that's 1 point per catch, and we're just doing in a 1.5 premium. So basically a tight end for every catch gets 1.5 instead of 1. So 50 catches is normally 50 points, but it's actually 75 points, if that makes sense. So it just weights the possession type tight ends, which will probably show some flaws as to why people overvalue some because they don't actually think what it helps. But basically 50 catches to 75 points. If you keep that in the back of your head, you'll kind of understand the scoring system of tight end premium.
Got it. So basically it's just, in a standard PPR league, you get 1 point per reception. In tight end premium, you get 1.5 points for the tight end specifically. So it does boost those guys. It makes some of those late round tight ends a little bit more relevant. Obviously gives an extra edge to Kelsey and Kittle, Ertz, and Andrews, but it helps make the tight end position a little bit more meaningful overall. Couple quick stats, and then we'll get into the mock draft. I'm looking right here at the PPR fantasy points for all the tight ends, and then what they would have been with with a 1.5 scoring instead of just 1, so a half point per reception each. Travis Kelsey would have had 47 more points, Ertz 44, Kittle 39, Andrews 32, Darren Waller would have had 42 more points. Looking down the list here, Hunter Henry would have had 25 more, Tyler Higbee 30.5. So again, this is another opportunity for more tight ends to be involved and be, part of the league and excited versus just those top guys. All right, we've got the chat room buzzing. We've got everybody ready to go. Let's kick this off, man. Why don't you fire off and let everybody know we are getting started here, please. And we will get into this mock draft. And you are sharing your screen so YouTube can see how you're drafting, and we'll kind of talk through the draft on your screen. But I've got mine going as well. And we are ready to go. So I have the 4th pick overall in this. And looks like I am up right now. I'm going to go with PPR League. I'm going to go with my man. I'm going to go with Kamara. Why not?
For sure. So I guess we'll get up to my pick here, and I'll kind of give why people sort of overvalue the premium, if that makes sense. So I guess leading up to this, we can look at the tight ends last year. So Travis Kelsey had 97 catches, Ertz had 88, Kittle had 85, Waller had 90, Hooper had 75, and then Mark Andrews had 64. And I think we're going to see him go fairly early because I think people just, like I said, instantly think, oh, tight end premium, he's worth more points. But you have to put it in perspective of where you're taking him over the other guys. I get there's a positional value, but everyone says that the positional value is there for tight end. That means it's there for every other position. I don't think people – like obviously the point gap is a lot bigger, but in tight end premium, the point gap actually shrinks, if that makes sense. So normally the number of points differential from Kelsey at 1 to we'll just throw in Jack Doyle at 10 might be 45 fantasy points. But then when you put in tight end premium, it shrinks because Jack Doyle might just catch 10 less balls, but 7 less touchdowns, if that makes sense. So the point differential shrinks a lot. So Miles Sanders going at the 109. This is one quarterback too, non-super flex. So it's coming down to me here. I I will not be going tight end here, I don't think.
You don't have to. I mean, if for people, and go ahead, make your pick, and I'll talk through this. We have been looking here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs out of the first 10 picks. We have Michael Thomas is the only other non-running back. I went with Alvin Kamara at the 4 spot. You have the 10th pick. Who did you go with and why? And then it'll actually be back to you and just here in a bit.
Yep, I went Tyreek Hill. I'm just going to kind of go boom here and then try and get a safer spot with this pick. So I think people are probably wanting me here to maybe go Kelsey, and that might be kind of the move here. But if I look at guys like Julio, who's still there, who caught 99 balls and X amount of yards, that doesn't really matter in perspective too. You could go Kelsey here, who caught around 90 balls, which is probably what I'm going to do because that would make sense because in reality he caught 130 passes or whatever, and that's worth more points than Julio's 99 if that makes sense. So that's what I'm going to do here and go with the Kansas City stack. With Tyreek and Kelsey, just basically take the boom with their offense and the super safe tight end premium for sure. So, so I'm going to go with that strategy. We'll see how the rest of the tight ends play out here in terms of Kittle, Andrews. I think Ertz is a screaming value in tight end premium, especially tight end premium dynasty. He's going in like the 6th, 7th round because people don't think that he's not going to catch 80 balls, which he's done like pretty sure the last 5-6 years. So we'll see how those play out. I've seen Kittle go right after Kelsey up here. I've seen Andrews going to round 2, and it doesn't really make sense to me. With that being said, we'll let it play out here. So a lot of running backs are going, as you can see, because these people do know what they're doing. No offense to Fantasy Pros. Sometimes the simulator is not the greatest in terms of the formula, but yep.
Well, that's why we switched it up here, and we wanted to do a sleeper app, which we love the sleeper app too. It's just for sake of the podcast and things. And honestly, I mean, we have 11 rounds up here, and I just frankly don't think we're going to maybe get that long if the podcast goes out that long or whatever. I'm going to be up here on the clock here in a second, so let me talk through my picks. So the top 5 receivers have come off the board here. Julio and Nuke just went. I'm up in 3 picks. Kittle's still available. Ertz still available. I'm going Kittle if he's there. If he's not there, I'm going to go Ertz. If somehow both of those guys go back-to-back here, do you recommend that I go – well, CEH just went. So I'm going to get Kittle or Ertz. Do you think that's a smart move here at 2.9 in the tight end premium?
Yeah.
That's automatic, right?
I think Kittle's fine because he had 85 catches and 5 touchdowns, and that should – even though he just went there. But in reality, go ahead.
So for me, it comes down to Ertz and Andrews. I love Andrews. I think he's going to be just fine. Would it be insane to go Ertz here, which I like, go Ertz here, and then maybe even look to do Andrews on the way back if he's available, or would you actually pick Andrews over Ertz on this one?
I think Andrews, he had 64 catches last year, dominated in the slot, and the team only added 2 slot receivers, and he's still not even the starter, and he had insane TD 10 touchdowns. If the TDs are going to fall for Lamar, that means they have to fall for Andrews. So I would probably hold off on that. I think, honestly, you could probably get a guy like Godwin, Aaron Jones, or Kenny G because I think people are going to be fading Ertz, and he will fall to you here.
Okay, so if we look at the rest of the thing, I mean, Godwin jumps off the page here, which looks great. And obviously in the back of the first round, I love that. Who are the running backs really quick? Don't have a lot of time. I'm going to go with Godwin.
Yeah, I think – I guarantee Ertz probably falls here. I just think people overthink the whole Andrews. Like even Jared Cook last year, he was banged up, but he had 3 catches a game. So in reality, he had almost 5 catches a game. Like he was 3.3, so 4.8 if I do my math right or something like that, 4.9. So the tight end premium doesn't boost a guy like that. Andrews had 4.3, so if you 1.5 that's, I don't know, 6 catches a game. But like Godwin's going to get much more than 6 catches a game probably, you'd think. So you have to kind of be smarter about it. But we will see some value fall here. You just got to hope Ertz makes it back to you. Trying to think who would. I'm back up in 2 more, and I think what I'm going to do, because here's almost what I can guarantee. It is tight end premium. So again, all these cats that are in this mock draft do know what they're doing. It's been all running backs, all receivers, Kittle and Kelsey, which makes sense, but no quarterbacks or anything yet. We're in the 3rd round wrap already. I am going to go tight end here regardless, because I do want one of those top guys. So even if it's Andrews, I'm going to go with that. I do want Ertz, though, I think, over Andrews ultimately. So I'm back up, and I do have the option of Ertz or
Andrews, and can you give me the receptions again? I have them. Actually, I got them pulled up here too. Andrews had 64 and Ertz had 88, even with Goddard. So I like that a lot. I'm going to go with my man, Zach Ertz.
For sure.
Now,
yep.
I would say, well, really quick, I would say in most other leagues, I'd probably go first of all, I'm just not going to draft a tight end if I don't get Kittle or Kelsey in other leagues in the third round. But I'd probably go overall Andrews over Ertz. But Ertz is just a PPR machine, and I think he's going to be just fine there. So I like that a lot. And why don't you go ahead and talk us through the next couple of picks? You're up in about 5.
Yep. So I will just kind of run through a quick recap of the draft for the podcast, guys. So the first round pretty much went as follows with what you normally get. Miles Sanders slid in there, bumped out Eckler and Jacobs. They were all around the turn. Julio, D-Hop, and Chris Godwin all fell into the middle of round 2. Kenny Galladay, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen around the turn, DJ Moore around the turn, Aaron Jones, and Leonard Fournette right around the turn as well. So Zach Ertz, you just took him here. So now we are up waiting on the pick. Jonathan Taylor at 3-5. That is insane. I don't care if he takes the job in week 2. That's still insane. Over Todd Gurley, that's crazy. That's oh my gosh. Okay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire went at the 2-7 with the pairing of Michael Thomas. It's a very good pairing. We'll see what he does here. He goes Lamar Jackson, very fun trio. So coming up on my pick, I might just take Mahomes just for fun with the Kansas City stack. If it plays out like that.
If you get that opportunity, I think that'd be fun to do. Why not?
For sure. I'm trying to think who else I would like. Juju, Calvin Ridley. I don't have any running backs yet. That's so gross too.
And you're the running back guy, so what are you going to do, my man? See, and again, you're on the clock, so I'll let you think, and I'll kind of talk through this. Here's some interesting things about tight end premium. It may not change your league outcome tremendously. It does make a different draft strategy because you just kind of have to you have to just look at the tight end position differently early and later. I can almost guarantee you. Well, there goes Mahomes for you.
That's fine.
I can almost guarantee you that in the next, maybe in the first 3 rounds, we don't see it because everyone wants to get their running backs and receivers. But I am pretty confident that once we get down here to like the 4th, 5th, 6th round, where we may only see 3 or 4 tight ends usually, we're probably going to see 7 to 8 because I think that's when you start getting the value and you get people wanting to jump ahead of them. So right now we only have Kittle, Kelsey, and Ertz off the board. I took Ertz. So far I have Kamara at 4. I have Godwin at 2-9, which is stupid. And I have Ertz at 3-4. Lukas is on the clock right now making his pick. It is Tyreek Hill in the first round. He went with the Kansas City stack in the first tight end off the board. And then he did go with a very interesting pick. Why don't you talk us through this and why? Looks like you definitely pissed off the rest of our league with that one. Nice move.
So I went Mark Andrews here, and my thinking was I didn't like any of the running backs at this value here. And I'm going to go a receiver here, hopefully Juju or Calvin Ridley. So my thinking is I can just stick tight end into the flex with Mark Andrews. So he still gets the premium because it's not the slot it's not whoever plays in the tight end slot. It's just the tight end position. I think people get that confused. Obviously, you can change your league settings for that, but if they have a tight end like titled to their name, they get the premium. So not that Mark Andrews, after you give him the 1.5 premium, is going to give you more catches than Ridley or Juju, but I think also supply and demand with the league, people are going to want tight ends. Now they're kind of people are going to kind of look at it like they need to trade me or something. I don't know. I didn't like any of the running backs here. Like Montgomery, I'm not taking Montgomery in the 3rd round. Or Carson in the 3rd round, Dave Montgomery in the 3rd round. I could have gone receiver, but back up here, Calvin really did go. That was my pick, so I'm just going to go Juju. If you listen to our receiver rankings, you know that I'm really high on him. But yeah, so that's my picks there. I went the ultimate 0 running backs. I have Tyreek, Juju, Travis Kelce, and Mark Andrews. I don't know how I feel about it so much.
I think it's fine. You went 0 RB and definitely unintentionally, but again, that's why we do mock drafts and we talk through it. And here's what's weird: if this wasn't tight end premium, first of all, you may not even draft Travis Kelce in general. Secondly, and maybe you get Kenyon Drake there or something, so you have a running back. You're definitely not drafting Ertz in the 3rd, Andrews in the 3rd round for the 2nd tight end. So this changed your team entirely. That's what I was kind of getting into while you made your pick. So that's what changes the most is the draft strategy. And again, it's going to be weird. Like people that are watching on YouTube, it looks, interesting, I think, which is going to be probably not something that we're going to be doing very often with the tight end premium, but hopefully we can get into the later rounds. I think is where we're going to get a lot of this value here with tight ends.
For sure. So Tyler's going the ultimate 4 running back strategy. I love that for sure. Alex got him up. Okay, he's good. So he made his pick. Yeah, it's Miles Sanders, Kenyon Drake, Le'Veon Bell, Raheem Mostert. I guess there is 2 flex spots. I didn't change that. So that is a good strategy for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So we got a weird picture in there. All right. So Raheem Mostert, Melvin Gordon went. I'm still trying to figure out the whole ADP situation with redraft mocks with real people. I think it's my first one doing it with real people. I don't really know how to value.
I like that. I like that Gurley. I like that Gurley pick with Kamish there. I was thinking Gurley myself. So now I might have to do it, bro. I might have to get your boy Deli.
I mean, if you want to lose, you can take Odell.
That's what I'm thinking I want to do. Not the lose part, but
oh, okay.
Keenan Allen. Let's see. Who's my other tight ends? Just to keep it in okay, Waller, Gronk, Evan Ingram, Hunter Henry. I could actually grab one of those guys in the 5th, but I'm not going to do that now. Odell, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, running backs James Conner, Kelsey. I'm not into any of that, so I think I'm going to go with. Let's see, Odell with the upside, Keenan Allen with the floor. I've got Godwin with the floor. I'm going to go with Odell. Got to stay true. Stay true to the brand. Okay, so I went Odell Beckham, so I'm looking at Kamara, Godwin, Ertz, Odell. You have Tyreek, Kelsey, Andrews, and Juju. I love that Juju pick, man. I love him too. That's awesome. We are going to be getting into, let's see here. Keenan Allen went right after that. That was the other guy I was considering. Let's see here. We have a wide receiver run here. Coming back around, man. What are you thinking for me? I mean, just with the quarterback value dropping here, Dak, Kyler's going to be available, Russell Wilson, somebody like that. I wouldn't mind having a top-end quarterback like that with this team that I've built so far. I'm not into a double tight end at this point because there's so many kind of later round guys. But I am considering maybe Evan Ingram. How do you feel about that? In the 5th round of a tight end premium. Zach Ertz has that floor and ceiling. Evan Ingram could potentially be that. Or let's take a look really quick again. I'm back on the board here, so I'm just going to steal some air. James Conner, man, it doesn't sound sexy, but that could be a really solid pick as my second running back right now. Wide receivers, I like DK Metcalf a lot here too.
No, Kareem Hunt was a good pick there. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's – the double tight end is not bad. I just don't know because he's so injury prone. I don't know if it's worth the pick, if that makes sense. I get I just took 2 tight ends, but Evan Ingram does have that history, and not that it's a wasted pick by any means.
How about so tight ends are – I'm just not going to go tight end. I think I talked myself out of that. I can go with Kyler Murray, which maybe I'll just get a quarterback in the next round. I've got DK Metcalf or James Conner is who I'm thinking about here.
I kind of like James Conner here. I mean, it's a risk, but
too.
I think you can make up for it in the back ends.
I do too. I'm going to go with that. Not sexy, but let's take a look at this. I mean, running backs. 1, 2, 3. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. He's a 25th running back off the board. I've got him slated just a little bit higher as kind of a middle RB2. I think that's good value. Again, I don't expect a full season out of James Conner, but when he is healthy, he's going to be the bell cow. I like that, and I have the high upside, obviously, and the big reception floor with Alvin Kamara. So far, I like this team. I do have some risk with Odell. I do have some risk with James Conner, but if those guys are healthy and get the workload, both of them have a huge ceiling with the value that we're getting in the 4th and 5th round. So kind of risky, but I do like this team so far. I'm going to recap a couple of the picks that had just gone. Lukas, you're up in just a few, so I'll let you study up here as we get going. I just went at Odell in the 4th at the 9th overall. I picked him over Keenan Allen. I can go back and forth on that. Keenan Allen's maybe the safer choice, but Odell has a bigger ceiling in my opinion. And Keenan Allen went, and then Chris Carson went in the back of the 4th round. Darren Waller, Kareem Hunt, T.Y. Hilton, David Montgomery right before me, and then James Conner. After me, Cam Akers goes off, and then DJ Chark. So the commish FFP is up now, and then we have 2 more picks until Lukas. So, Lukas, take us through your – I mean, again, you have no running backs at this point, which obviously is an issue. Are you looking to double up on this turn here to get 2 running backs, or are you so committed to PPR that you may as well just go hard with go with the receivers? Are you thinking quarterback at all at this point? Where you at?
I don't know. It's tough because these running backs are not very great. I don't mind Mark Ingram here. I think people think that he's like not the starter anymore.
I think he's your best option. I think it's almost a must for you because of your team and because Mark Ingram's going to be Mark Ingram for at least the first couple of weeks of the season. Then you can try to get Dobbins before me later in this draft.
He just went there and Swift. Gross.
Maybe not. All right, I'm gonna give radio silence for you here to make this pick.
Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I should have probably gone. I don't even know because I don't want to take Kenyon Drake really.
Do you feel Kenyon Drake's way off? Do you feel
no? I mean like in the second round. Yeah.
Oh. Do you feel Marlon Mack is too ridiculous here?
I'm gonna go Sony.
Okay.
I don't know. This is tough. I'm gonna go Sony. Take the guaranteed points and see kind of what it plays back here. I might go. Oh, gross. I might go QB and just take Dak. Yeah, I don't know because I don't know what I would have changed. Kelsey in the second, probably just taking Allaire. I don't even know if I like that pick though over Kelsey. And in the 3rd round, I'm not taking David Johnson, Gurley, maybe Melvin Gordon, I guess, but it's still kind of risky.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And again, you're up in a couple picks here, so with the guys that we have in this group, these guys, a bunch of these guys are part of the Fantasy Football Stock Exchange crew, TCK Pod family, the commish FFP. We have, our boy Sack Attack up in the mix as well. Notorious, Tyler Moss, Busch Gardens. We got a lot of the homies in here. Danny, a lot of the crew that does this pretty much for a living the way that we do. So I think it's interesting that, all these running backs have gone so heavy. And honestly, this is the most competitive mock that I've been in really because, again, all these guys know what they're doing. You're not banking on computer-generated ADP, so we're into that. All right, I'm up in just a couple, man. I'm gonna bail and make a decision here. Why don't you take us through the last couple of picks? And I love the fucking reach on 6 there.
Yeah, so a lot of the running backs went here. A lot of the rookies kind of mixed in. We had Cam Akers go, DeAndre Swift, I went J.K. Dobbins, guys Vaughn, Rojo, the gross tier of running backs, you could say, just went off the board. So there's not very many running backs here that are great by any means or really eye-appealing. So we're going to get in probably to a lot of the quarterback, receiver, tight end territory coming up here. I don't know. I definitely should have gone running back heavy, but I don't know where. Like Chubb or Eckler or Jacobs maybe, but I like Tyreek there. So I don't really get him in a whole lot of mocks that much. So I don't know. Kyler going here. So we'll probably see a couple quarterbacks go here.
I'm actually thinking quarterback. Can you take a look with me real quick at the running backs and the receivers? I mean, maybe Marlon Mack, but I feel like I could wait around on him. James White, my dog, I grab in the 7th if Marlon Mack goes. Wide receivers, though, Cortland Sutton, I get. Oh, James White just went, so never mind. Cortland Sutton, I guess, but I'm just not crazy about him. Although in the 6th round, that seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not terrible. There's a lot of receivers, though, so I'd probably prioritize running back here. I mean, Kerryon Johnson, Jordan Howard's not bad. Matt Breida, I'd probably go Jordan Howard over Matt Breida. Still not terrible. Carlos Hyde's down there. I don't know. I'd probably prioritize running back, I would say. But we all know Odell's not playing the full season, so you might want to get another receiver. I don't know. I mean, quarterback's not a terrible one because I think Dak and Russ kind of leave off that top tier of quarterbacks.
I agree. Now, when I go through it, I mean, I've got Dak secured at number 3. I love me some Russell Wilson. I'm going to go Dak Prescott if he's still available. Now, obviously, this is kind of silly when you match up the audio with the video here. Cortland Sutton just went, so that makes it easy because I was definitely thinking about him. I am going to go with Dak Prescott here. Let me just do a quick scan to make sure. Damian Williams, definitely not. Marlon Mack. Breida Howard Johnson, no thank you. Deebo Samuel, Tyler Lockett, AJ Green, all those guys I feel like I can get on the next round. Tight ends, I'm going to wait as well, so I am going to go with Dak Prescott. All right, so the last couple of picks since Lukas went, I'm on the turn. So J.K. Dobbins, DK Metcalf, I love that. I was going to go DK if he slid. Stephon Diggs, Kyler Murray, James White. Cortland Sutton, I went with Dak Prescott here. So my team so far is Alvin Kamara, Chris Godwin, Zach Ertz, Odell Beckham, who is slated for a full 16 games this year, which is exciting. James Conner also ready for 16 games, which I'm glad to hear. And Dak Prescott as well. So I have a very balanced team at this point. I have 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, and a quarterback. Devontae Parker goes off now. I am up in just another couple of picks. So I can really – here I'm balanced. I love to be in this position in a draft if it makes sense, because now I can just look at my team as is and say, what do I want to do? I've got a floor with James Conner. I've got a great floor and ceiling with Alvin Kamara running back. I've got a floor with Chris Godwin and a ceiling there as well, and the ceiling of Odell Beckham. Floor with Zach Ertz and the ceiling with Dak Prescott. So I feel very comfortable with my team. If we're looking back around here for the next guy, I'm thinking Marlon Mack is a name I'm considering. He's probably the only running back I would consider right now. Deebo Samuel would probably be my receiver. Tyler Boyd's a great pick there. He's definitely sneaky. Deebo just went. Tight ends as well. How about Evan Ingram here? I talked about him in about the 5th round. How do you feel about him in the 7th? I think he might go anyway in the 7th, and now we have the tight end premium.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. A lot of teams don't need tight end for sure. I still think, I don't know, guys like Lockett and Landry and Gallup, I still feel like I'd probably prioritize. Probably Lockett, I guess, is the one I would take for sure over Ingram, just because he's super safe. Yeah, you could also use another running back too, though.
Oh, man, I just realized that I've got Odell, but I love Landry here too. How about Michael Gallup?
Yeah, I would still go Lockett over him, though.
Running back. Let's see here. Yeah, Lockett's a good pick. I'm not a huge fan of Tyler Lockett, but I feel like in the 7th round with this team with the upside there is a good pick. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you just got the wide receiver 13 in PPR at 7.4 from last year, and nothing really changed. So I don't mind.
But yeah, and I do expect DK Metcalf to have a huge increase. He had 100 targets last year, about 58 receptions. I expect the receptions to go up to 75. Targets even could stay around it at 100 targets, which is reasonable. But he had only 58% catch percentage, which is stupid. He's gonna get that up past probably around 70. So that'll be just fine there. Although the trust with Lockett and Russell Wilson is fabulous. So I love that. So my team so far is Kamara, Godwin, Ertz, Beckham, Connor, Prescott, and Lockett. You're up in a couple picks. I will let you run through your team when you're up. There goes Evan Ingram. Nice pick there. And I will just go through the turn here. So I had Dak Prescott at 6'9". After that was Devontae Parker, Russell Wilson, Tariq Cohen, great PPR grab there in the end of the 6th round. Tyler Boyd, nice pick there to start the 7th. My boy Deebo Samuel. Hunter Henry right before me. Then I went with Tyler Lockett. After that, Evan Ingram did go. Julian Edelman and Jarvis Landry, who I think are both steals at this point, and I assume you were probably looking at Edelman at least at that point.
Yeah, he took my guy. That's literally who I was going to take.
Yeah, that was going to be big. They're both huge PPR monsters, of course. Jarvis Landry has the most receptions of any player ever in the history of the NFL in their first 6 seasons. He's also outperformed his ADP every single season except for one. Obviously, Julian Edelman's a great floor. I just obviously lacks the upside. Has for years, but especially without Brady at this point. but I know that you love Julian Edelman. So you are up in 3 picks here, man. I'm going to run through your team really quick while you're thinking, and then you can let us know how you're at. Tyreek Hill in the first round, Kelsey in the second, goes back-to-back tight ends with Andrews in the third, Juju in the fourth, Sony Michel in the fifth, J.K. Dobbins in the sixth. You are actively on the clock. I'll pick over the next couple of picks, and we'll let you do yours. Marlon Mack.
And Marvin Jones went too. Man, they're sniping me.
Marlon Mack goes here in the seventh, and Marvin Jones here goes right before you as well.
I'm going to go Hollywood. I was going to go safe
Brown.
with
I like it.
Edelman or Jones, but now I got to play the upside a little bit if I'm trying to.
Well, you're back on the clock here, and at the time of this recording, I just got news that Jerry Jeudy and Drew Lock have been throwing daily. How does that make you feel about your boy Jerry Jeudy here?
I hope so. I mean, that's their job. I would throw daily too if I was a starting quarterback. I hate those reports. Like, come on. I hope so. I hope you're throwing daily, because if you don't throw daily, then you're not good. Like, you're not going to get any better. Oh, man.
All right, man. You have Sony Michel, who is borderline the worst RB1 to have in PPR, and then J.K. Dobbins, who won't be the starter until week 4. You have to go running back, even though it seems horrible. No.
No, yeah, I have to go running back. This is gross. If I would have gotten Edelman or Jones here, I don't hate Hollywood, but if I would have gotten Edelman,
let me see if I can try to help you out here. Tevin Coleman makes me sick, but he's decent.
I'm going Madison. Dalvin Cook's getting hurt.
Okay. All right. Hexing. You heard it here on the podcast, folks. Dalvin Cook, hexed. Now, you're thinking Madison over Tony Pollard. That's just opportunity in redraft, right?
Yeah, I just think Cook gets hurt. We haven't seen him finish a whole season. I don't think it's going to happen.
Now, you did realize, and maybe you didn't notice because he was kind of buried there, but Frank Gore is still available at 200 off the board.
That's true.
He's going to lead the Jets in rushing touchdowns, so you might want to consider him on the back end. I'm pretty good at running back, so I'm not sure I'm going to go that direction, but just want to throw that out there for you. All right, I'm up in a couple. Can you run us around the bend here, and we'll get up to my pick here in a second.
Yep. So right after you went, I think you listed off Edelman, Landry, Marvin Jones, all my picks. I went Hollywood. Matt Breida went Brandon Cooks, Hayden Hurst. That's a good value there in the 8-1. Sean Watson. I went Madison, Slayton, Damian Williams, Tyler Higbee just went, and then now we're up to here.
So I'm thinking about A.J. Green, and I know that everybody in fantasy hates A.J. Green except for me. But to get him in the 8th round with the upsides I have of Godwin, Odell, and Lockett, to have A.J. Green as a substitute flex as long as he's healthy seems pretty awesome. Looking at tight ends again, Gronk, Cook, Hooper, Fant, Gesicki. I think I'm going to go with a second tight end in the 9th round on the way back, but not yet. Running backs, bro, I'm just not excited. Jordan Howard, I like but don't like for PPR. Kerryon Johnson, I just can't trust. Tevin Coleman, I'm not liking either because Jeff Wilson's going to take his job. Lindsey, I just don't know that he gets enough work, although he could be the passing downs back. Any other running backs you're excited about here right now? Is it too early to go with Anthony McFarland for me? Because I pretty much have to get him as the handcuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's not a bad pick at all. It's not even really reaching that much.
I mean, there's no reason he would get picked in the next 6, though. So I don't have to right now. Maybe I could look at someone else and grab him in the 9th. Tight end, Drew Brees goes. Okay, so tight ends. Is it too early for Gesicki? I like Jonnu. We just talked about all their ranks. My boy Blake Jarwin. Just a matter of if you're going to get those guys. You know what? I'm going to wait a couple more rounds. Again, I'm not crazy about it, but I am going to go with A.J. Green. I just think that floor and his potential is just way too high to pass up right now with my 4 starting receivers.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good risk.
Risk reward.
Yeah, that's definitely a good spot there for him.
Antonio Gibson goes. Gallup goes. I love that. Okay, let's see here. We got the turn. I'm up in just a couple more. Let's see. We only have 3 rounds left. So why don't you give us – okay, I guess I'll just go first, and then I'll be back on the clock, and you can run us through the next couple of picks. I have 4 receivers, so I'm pretty dialed. I am I think it's a little early potentially, but I'm going to make sure to secure McFarland as, I think, a necessary handcuff this year with James Conner. So I'm going to go with McFarland here, and then I will grab another tight end and then pick my last pick with whoever in the last round. So let me do that quick, and why don't you take us through the next couple of picks on the way to your 9th round pick.
Sounds good. Yep. So Deontay Johnson, Zach Moss, Christian Kirk, Josh Allen. Then you just went Anthony McFarland, like you said. And we have 1, 2. I'm up in 5 picks. I'm probably going to go running back and then probably – no, there's not really any QB value. Probably running back. Running back, I guess, as much. Actually, I probably need to go safer receiver to offset maybe Hollywood. Not inconsistency, but maybe his injury risk or something like that. There's a couple guys here that I think can definitely slide into that wide receiver 2 spot nice. So we'll see kind of how it plays off, though. But in terms of running back, I like Jordan Howard here. I like Carry-On. I like Lindsey. A.J. Dillon's not terrible for sort of a 0 RB approach. It'll probably be one of Lindsey, Carry-On, or Jordan Howard. At least I hope, for sure.
I like Lindsey, man. I mean, in generally, I'm not excited about him, but in your particular situation, like I definitely expect Melvin Gordon to be the top dog there for sure. But there's no reason Philip Lindsay, at minimum, would just be the third down back, which should be plenty of work. And we know that obviously he's got big playability. He's got the hands. If he falls to you, if I had your team, I think I would go Lindsay over those other guys. Carry-On I love Carry-On, dude. I touted him big time coming out of Auburn, but 2 years in a row. And again, Jordan Howard, you could pick up on the turn, who's a great floor guy, but not a PPR guy. Tevin Coleman, same thing. I like it. I would.
And he just goes there too. So
I would definitely have gone Philip Lindsay there. That's a good pick.
That's just
who else are you looking at? Because you're pretty much looking at the only starter left is Jordan Howard. Yeah,
probably Jordan Howard my pick here. Just get the safe sort of 4 yards per carry, I guess you said. It's so bad. I don't even know. I mean, in reality though, my team I don't think is like terrible when it comes to like putting together a week by week roster, because my core of Tyreek, Juju, Travis Kelce, and Mark Andrews, and I guess Sony, even if he falls down on my running back too, is still pretty solid.
Well, and dude, Hollywood can break a game any week if Cook actually goes down, which of course we're not going to hex anybody on purpose. But if Madison actually gets a starting job, dude, you have a top fucking 5 running back in the 8th round. J.K. Dobbins is the same thing. If he takes over that role or Ingram goes down, you have those 2 running backs, man, are probably what I'm most excited about for late round flyers. And so, again, I think you're top heavy, which will carry you through the first 4 weeks. And then in the middle part of your season, you'll start to see how the chips fall. And if you're able to get somebody else, I think that would be huge. So since my last pick, I went with Anthony McFarland, and Justin Jefferson went great in PPR, of course, if he takes over that, that Thielen role potentially over the slot if Thielen moves to the outside with Diggs going to Buffalo. Philip Lindsay goes E-Money Sanders. Goes to the commish. I like that pick. Jared Cook and Gesicki go back-to-back at tight end, and you went with Jordan Howard. I think that's a good pick there. Jonnu goes in the 9th. I like that pick. And then we have Carson Wentz, who goes. Now, you have 2 picks left in this entire draft. Is there any reason you'd be thinking of a third tight end, with it being tight end premium? We did talk about a draft strategy of potentially grabbing 3 tight ends just because – now you do have, 2 of the top 5 in Kelce and Andrews, so you wouldn't be sitting them ever. But maybe there's a chance for a third one, or are you looking to bolster the rest of your roster? You also need a quarterback as well.
Yeah, I'll probably just take QB. I think here I'm just gonna go Carry-On. That's insane value to me in the 10th round. I broke it down the whole draft capital, I think on a different podcast, how like Carry-On was picked 8 picks later than DeAndre Swift, so the draft capital narrative is washed, and how Carry-On's apparently DeAndre Swift's this elite pass catcher, and Carry-On's both their best reception totals were like 6 apart in college. I mean that's definitely a sort of like you're messing with the injury, but I think I had to go there. I'll just take a quarterback probably this last pick. I don't really. Normally you have 15 to 16 rounds anyway, so I'd probably take 1 or 2. But, yeah, I mean, I think my running backs didn't turn out terrible. A combination of Jordan Howard, Carry-On Johnson, Michelle Dobbins, and then if Cook gets hurt, Madison's my starter. So
I think that's a great call. I am up in a couple picks here. I want to make sure to get a second tight end, but I have two tight ends left that I'm going to double up with, so I feel good about that. That one of those guys will fall. I'm thinking Latavius Murray here. Again, just locking up those backfields, and we saw last year that when Alvin Kamara went down, Latavius Murray was a top 5 running back for those 2 weeks. I think I'm just going to go with Lat Murray here if he falls. If he gets picked right before me on this one, then I will just go with another tight end.
Yeah, it's not terrible for sure. Your team's pretty safe all around, to where I think you have a good enough starting core at each position. Yeah, I don't mind tight end here though.
I am going to go with Lat Murray. Running backs are running low, and I want to make sure I got that. So I have the Steelers and the Saints backfield. I feel very good about that, both top backfields in the league and in fantasy football. My wide receivers, I feel very good about, very safe floors and definitely some ceilings in there. Dak Prescott, I have as my number 3 quarterback. I'm stoked to get him in the back of the 6th. Zach Ertz, not my tight end of choice generally for fantasy, but to get him in the 3rd round of a tight end premium, I feel pretty good about that as well. So I feel really good about my team, actually, man. I'm going to grab one of these 2 tight ends here. We can talk through them. I've got Blake Jarwin, my man, and Dallas Goedert in the queue. Blake Jarwin's got that schedule favor. We went through that. How do you feel? First of all, how about Danny grabbing Tom Brady in the 11th round as his quarterback as his last pick? Pretty solid there. How do you feel about grabbing Jarwin, or should I get that tight end handcuff and go with Goddard?
I would go Jarwin because I think not nothing against Goddard, but I think a little bit of the sort of fantasy finish for them was influenced by a lack of weapons, and I think Goddard, his role is not as safe as Ertz may be as we think. But I think in terms of the way you're building your team, maybe you're playing one of them in your flex. I would probably go Jarwin because you're probably not going to start both tight ends. You could last year, but like I said, there was 7 receivers that are coming into this offense.
But if Ertz goes down, then I've got next Ertz.
That's true too. Yeah. So I mean, you could always draft another tight end later if we had more rounds too. So.
And I think Jarwin is the guy to probably fall. So I'm going to just make the smart move here and grab Goddard. I love Jarwin. Everybody on the podcast knows I love Jarwin. He's got a top fantasy schedule season long, as you heard on Tuesday, also during the playoffs and in week 1 as well. But I'm going to be starting Ertz anyway, and then I've got Goddard, so I locked up both of those guys. So I feel really good about my team, man. I'll put us around the corner here and lead up to your last pick, and then once this draft ends, we'll just recap our rosters and we'll get out of here. So I went with Lat Murray to get that handcuff, who kind of has his own value as well for Alvin Kamara there in the 10th round. After that, Jerry Jeudy, Jamison Crowder, nice late-round picks there. Mecole Hardman goes as well. I think that's a nice late-round pick. Tom Brady in the 11th round of a single QB league, I think is a steal. And Noah Fant goes. Darrell Henderson goes. Then I picked Dallas Goedert. Michael Pittman, my man. I love that pick right there. I think, honestly, before too long, he's going to be the number 1 for the Colts. I think it happens maybe midway through this season, so you might have to wait, but I like that a lot. Michael Pittman. So we have 4 more picks until you've gone 3 running backs. Actually, you've gone 5 running backs in the last 6 picks after no running backs in the first 4. You have to go a quarterback. Let's look at the streamers. And who are we looking at here? There's a lot of this is so dumb. There's so much value here in the 11th round. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's probably going to be in ranking order: Stafford, Matt Ryan, Big Ben, Jared Goff. I'd say. I'm not.
So you're taking all of them over Aaron Rodgers.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Ryan finished higher than him last year, if I remember right. If I'm not dumb, Stafford would have, and if Big Ben would have played, I feel like he would have too.
Yeah. Whoa, is that correct? Baker Mayfield's still available?
Good.
Man,
people think helping an offensive line makes your throws more accurate.
I love this, dude. I love this. You and I are very on the same page with 90% of our content, which I know people don't, we're just not into the make fake arguments like TV does. So we don't do that. We just have the same takes. But the Browns, man, that's just a strong one that we can't get on the same page with. I love it. You won last year. but we're gonna stick with it this year.
If
See
you
we
if
can
you
get.
win this year, maybe I'll buy in next year. I guess
Well,
I'll say
then we'll
that.
do a
But
best out of 3, and then it'll
for
settle
sure.
it. We'll do a best
Yeah.
out of 3 next year and get into it. All right, man, you're up in 2. Who are you feeling, assuming all of those quarterbacks fall to you?
Stafford first, then Ryan, and then Big Ben, because no more than
Tyler needs one, and he's right before you, so he's going to pick a quarterback as well.
He's gonna pick Stafford. Actually, he might go Ryan. He likes them both pretty equally. Because he realizes that they're actually really good compared to, I don't know, like I like Lamar Jackson and Mahomes, but in the 3rd round over Matt Stafford in the 11th round, like come on, man, like maybe like a 4th round QB, but like not a 3rd round QB. He's gonna go Stafford or Ryan.
So let's talk about this really quick. He's up, you're up, and then we have 2 picks and the draft is over. We're at this point. You're literally in the position of you have not picked a quarterback until the 11th round. We see all these names: Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones. I mean, the list goes on. Who of this list down here could be, I mean, not necessarily Lamar Jackson and or Patrick Mahomes. They're just next level. But like Dak Prescott from a couple years ago. Who could be an 11th round pick who could end the season top 6 and be maybe a top 5 round pick next year? Who do you think could fall into that category?
Yeah, I think that Goff, because we've kind of seen it before, and I think he just kind of needs to fix his inconsistencies. I'd probably say Drew Lock just because the weapons and all that are there. And if it does hit, those are probably the 2 clearest path. I like Daniel Jones, but that schedule is so hard, and we saw the up and down last year. So Tyler went on auto pick, so he obviously wasn't going to take Ruggs there. So I went Stafford, but he would have taken Ryan or Stafford if he didn't go on auto pick.
Yeah, fair enough. We got 2 picks left, and that'll end the draft, and we'll run through our rosters. But, yeah, that's great, man. I mean, again, look at all these names left, and we're hitting the 12th round here if we were to continue the draft. We are done. We're going to wrap this up in the 11th round for sake of time on the podcast, but look at all these names still available with Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, and Drew Lock, Baker Mayfield, Big Ben, all these guys. So pretty incredible value there. All right, Antonio Brown, last pick of the draft. We'd love to see that. Let's look at this entire draft board. Can you do me a favor and hit the little TV on the top right-hand corner to get a full screen view? Boom. And it kind of, I know that on YouTube it's going to cut out a little bit because we have our faces up in the corner there. But I'm going to highlight my team really quick. I'm going to run through mine. Why don't you run through yours? We'll talk about them quick and we'll jump. So, TCK Pod. That was the team that I drafted. Lukas Kaser was Lucas's team, of course. So in the first round, I went with Alvin Kamara. Second round, 2-9, Chris Godwin. That's not going to happen ever again, probably, but that was automatic, no-brainer there. After that, I went with Zach Ertz. Again, not crazy about him, but I did like him in tight end premium in the 3rd round, so feel good about that. Odell Beckham. Could have gone Keenan Allen over him there, but I do like the upside of Odell to match with Godwin and the rest of my receivers that I got later. James Conner makes me a little bit queasy, but again, he looks healthy. He looks ripped. Like to see those. Last time we saw a guy get super muscular before a season, it was Christian McCaffrey, and we know what happened there. So James Conner is pretty much Christian McCaffrey. That's what I'm saying on the podcast. Dak Prescott in the 6th round. I like that, of course. He's my number 3. Get him there to secure that. Huge upside. Tyler Lockett, AJ Green, great floors. Big touchdown upside for both of those guys. Anthony McFarland, Lat Murray to get my handcuffs for Alvin Kamara and James Conner, and then Dallas Goedert to be the handcuff to the Eagles. So I have the Saints and the Steelers backfields. I have the Eagles tight end core. I have a really good set of wide receivers in my opinion, and then Dak Prescott as well. So all in all, I think my team is very solid, steady, good floor, definitely some high ceilings in there. I got all 3 handcuffs that I needed. I feel really good about this team overall. Let's jump over to your team. Lukas Kaser at the 10th overall. Walk us through it.
Sure. So I got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Juju Smith, Sonny Michel, J.K. Dobbins, Hollywood Brown, Alexander Madison, Jordan Howard, Kerryon Johnson, and Matt Stafford. So I went sort of 0 RB, I guess you could say. I didn't really plan on that. I just didn't like any of the running backs in round 3, and the same ones were in round 4. So I just kind of faded that. I wanted to go Ingram or Swift at the 5-10, or not Swift, Ingram or Singletary probably, or Connor if he fell to me somehow. But I went Sonny Michel. Dobbins is just playing into if he can take over somewhat, or even if it's just a 50-50, I think he'll still be startable. And then I went Hollywood upside. I actually am pretty okay with my running backs that I got Kerryon, Howard, and Madison. I think they're okay for having such a top-heavy pass catching role.
Awesome. I like your team. There are definitely a couple holes in there. I do like the KC stack. Mark Andrews is solid. Juju's my dog as well. I'm actually higher than you are on him. Sony, just I'm not into the PPR thing. J.K. Dobbins, great grab. Madison, great grab. On Johnson, the 10th round is ridiculous. Matt Stafford, great upside there. Hollywood Brown's solid as well. Jordan Howard and Sony Michel, not great in PPR, but at the value you got both of them, they are the starting running back, should get plenty of work and touchdown upside. So, all right, my man, that rounds out our tight end premium mock draft. You heard both of our rosters. We'll be posting those online as well. Let us know if you have any questions about tight end premium or any other various scoring changes that are not of the norm. We're happy to help you walk through those. Lucas, before we get out of here, man, please let us know what we have coming up in the draft guide, dropping July 6th.
Yep, so the next week or so, we will have a link attached to a graphic probably. You'll be able to see what the options of buying the guide or the in-season package or the listener league, all that stuff. It'll be a simple process, a link with Venmo or PayPal, or if you want to do a whole credit card purchase thing, we can. We want to make it easy access for you guys. If you go on the site, you can see what we mean by it's private. We will basically, you'll get it. You'll fill out the form with your email. We'll give you that email as well as a password. You'll tell us to give you the login for the site, and then you'll pay us, and then you'll get the draft guide on July 6th. So these are early orders, obviously, because it's not ready until July 6th, but it's basically to get your name down, and if you buy the draft guide tier, like the automatic entry, then obviously we'll get you down for that.
Perfect. Absolutely, man. I'm really looking forward to it. We've had a lot of people reach out as well for the TCK Pod Listener League. Make sure to stay tuned for that. We have a lot of information. We're still fine-tuning that. We might even have multiple leagues this year. Last year, we only had the single league, which Lucas went ahead and took down last year. But we are going to potentially be opening it up to multiple leagues. We're still fine-tuning that. We'll figure it out. That is coming out at the end of July, and we would love your participation there. All right, my man, another mock draft in the books. This episode wraps up a month-long series of going through the quarterback, running back, receiver, and tight end fantasy football strength of schedules, which we broke down on Tuesdays for each position, rankings on Wednesdays of each position, and then a mock draft for each particular position. For quarterback, it was super flex. For running back, it was running back heavy and early. For wide receivers, it was zero RB strategy, and then for this one, obviously with the tight ends, it is tight end premium. So we hope you have grabbed some value. If so, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment as well. Let us know how you feel about both of our rosters and the strategies we took, with me taking the handcuff with Zach Ertz and Lucas going 2 tight ends in the first 2 rounds, 2 of the top 4 tight ends, that is. And also, please make sure to leave a rate and review on the podcast wherever you're listening. Follow us on Instagram at fantasyfootball_TCK pod. And on Twitter at TCK_pod. The website is locked now until the draft guide drops. But, of course, you can hit us up in DMs as well and finding the information. Make sure to ask us any question you got, and we will help you out. Really, really appreciate you jumping in for the mock drafts. Thank you to everybody that participated in our mock draft. Big up to the Fantasy Football Stock Exchange crews, the commish, Sack Attack, everybody else involved. Thank you for participating. This has been another episode of the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Football Podcast. And for Lucas Kaser, I'm Sky Guasco, and we are out of here.